Today on the Topic Show, Steven Crowder breaks a story with the United Nations admitting that they're useless and that they fear Trump. Kamala Harris has a pre-recorded interview with CNN and includes bragging about the Inflation Reduction Act. The German government starts a manhunt for a citizen who called a politician fat on social media. Illegals try to hijack a school bus in San Diego. Shake Shack vows to have 50% black leadership by 2025, sparking controversy. Pagani to just stick with the beautiful V12 engine for their powertrain, say no one wants hybrids. Lego to switch to expensive non-oil-based materials. Footlocker moving their headquarters from New York to Florida. And Aldi is recalling their coffee maker. All of that and much more on The Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of The Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, you see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the Business Problem Podcast, you have some beautiful news. Pagani to stick with the beautiful V12 engine. The internal combustion engine lives on in the glory of the V12. A very rare thing these days, I believe, in terms of, well, they're not really a commercial product in terms of a mass manufacturer, but in terms of car companies, I mean, BMW used to be iconic for it. Obviously, the McLaren F1, the best car in history. But really, you have Pagani, and you have Aston Martin, thank God, has a V12 with a stick shift, even more beautiful. But there's really not as many as they used to be. Now, this comes with thing. Obviously, everyone wants to tune in the show and watch me. Of course, I'm so handsome, obviously. Ha, that's a joke. But seriously, let's get that beautiful Pagani on the screen here. And I've only gotten to see one in person in my lifetime, and it's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. The particular one I saw was, it was a Pagani Utopia, and it was carbon, obviously it's all carbon fiber, but it was actually purple tinted, or it was a purple color. It was immaculate. I think the guy spent like a year building it or configuring it and going to Italy, telling him what he wants. It cost about like $4 million plus. I can't mention the registration fees on that alone, but yeah, a moving work of art. Now go ahead and pull this up. This is by Jared Perez over there. And he says, Horacio Pagani is sticking with the V12s because no one wants a hybrid. And it's a rare thing. He says, the logic for building a V12 still and not doing a hybrid or electric supercar is simple. Quote, we have to build what the customer wants to buy. Well, also because they're a small enough company, the government isn't pushing them or bullying them like they are with major manufacturers who have high volumes of products. And that's why you see less and less great V8s in America these days and more EVs and hybrids. But I partially digress. I could stare at that picture all day long. Not the part of the video with me, the Pagani in it. I mean, just the exhaust, just the quad exhaust alone with that rear. And if you could zoom in, I mean, you could see the beautiful carbon fiber weave. And they say, quote, when it came time to develop Pagani Hyra's successor, the engine was the first and most important component to figure out. Horacio Pagani and his team worked closely with Mercedes-AMG to develop the motor that made the most sense. A twin-turbo V8 hybrid. However, it quickly became obvious that electrifying Modena's newest hypercar added too much weight and ruined the family recipe, though there's even heftier reason why hybrid Pagani wouldn't see the light of day. Utopia was ultimately unveiled in September 2022, powered by what would become Pagani's middle finger to the industry, a 6-liter twin-turbo V12. It produces 852 horsepower, and I told myself I wouldn't cry. It can come with a manual transmission, also known as having 3 pedals, also known as the best way to drive a vehicle bar none. I cannot recommend it enough. I mean, if you have the capabilities and the finances to get a new car or a used car with a stick shift, I go out and do it today. You won't regret it. Even for the folks who say, oh, I'm in bumper-to-bumper traffic, for an hour. Well, one, you'll pay more attention to the road, thereby decreasing the odds that you're going to be in an accident. But, I mean, the best things in life, they're worth fighting for. And getting a little exercise for our legs, they aren't going to hurt us too much these days. There you can see the top-down image of that beautiful engine. They say, no electric motors, no batteries, as Horacio Pagani explained when unveiling the Utopia Roadster. He said his lack of customer interest put the final nail in the coffin. He said, quote, in reality, no one is interested in a hybrid car. And I have hybrids in my collection. I have a Porsche 918 and a few more. But when it's time for me to take the Porsche out for a spin, I'll take my 911R or Carrera GT. Awesome. Again, the Carrera GT had a V10 and a stick shift. Basically took a race car engine into just threw it in a commercial vehicle. And Yeah, thanks to the EPA, you can't really do that too much these days. Hopefully that gets curtailed sometime soon. He continues to say, quote, our clients think along the lines of, I believe that if you ask people, most of them will say the hybrid is coming. It's something extraordinary because it has the problems of electric car and problems of combustion car. True. With the current AMG V12 in the Utopia Coupe, the Roadster has developed to meet worldwide regulations, and there's no need to reinvent the wheel when introduce a hybrid or even a full electric Pagani. The Argentinian visionary explained back in 2017 the entire team was assembled to explore these propulsion systems, but once again, the combination of a severe weight penalty and lack of customer interest brought that to an end. He continues to say, quote, the hybrid V8 was considered, but the car was just too heavy, 200 or 500 kilos more, and our clients don't want anything to do with it. We had to build what the client is going to buy from us. In 2017, we built a team to work on EV. The whole team was focused and excited, including myself, and we defined the concept for this car and got to work with Mercedes-AMG and other partners. We even started to work with Lucid, which had been excellent technology in the worlds of EVs. Debatable. But that's when it happened. Customers weren't interested. Here you can see it's probably more engineering just that one tire on that vehicle than an entire mass-produced Nissan or GM product. You can say, quote, it's not about being stubborn or whether it's electric or hybrid. These are all fresh challenges for us. Pagani is a family, and we don't have the massive automaker conglomerate behind us. We have to build what the customer really wants, aka we can't afford to take losses for years like our competitors. And we have lots of technology to rapidly pivot if the customer does happen to change. You see an exploded view. You can actually see the frunk and the trunk popped open there, as well as the cool gull wing doors, or the, let's see here. Some good news. See that all day long. It is a nice contrarian to the whole automotive industry. And again, I'm still shocked to this day that they're coming out with a stick shift for the Pagani. I mean, think about it. If you want a V12 with a stick shift, and what is one of those? Oh, now it's considered vintage. The Lamborghinis from back in the day, like 2000. What was it? The LP640 is going for like $1 million if you want a stick shift V12 Lamborghini. And what are your other options? McLaren F1s are going for 20 plus million. Now you do have Gordon Murray's latest iteration, but those are still 3 to 4 million. So, granted, this is just expensive, but it's so rare to find that. Really, Aston Martin's the only, if you want to consider that, in terms of volume, it's much more of a high volume business than other super luxury vehicles. But it's so rare to have that. And in a world of companies just, making things because the accountants told them to, because the government told them to, it's becoming more rare to just have a company where they just listen to the customer feedback and they make such beautiful works of art. So a little bit of good news in the automotive industry. You don't hear that often. There's so many changes, and some are good, some are bad, but it's a little bit of good news today. So let me know. Do you think Pagani will ever? I mean, maybe they'll do a V16 one. No, I'm just kidding. I know Bugatti's doing the V16. I know it's automatic only. Yeah. But yeah, let me know how many of these bespoke automotive manufacturers will continue this trend or debunk the trend of EVs and hybrids. Because again, I mean, Porsche, their quote unquote supercar, again, it's the hybrid technologies, which, don't get me wrong, they still sold out. People bought them left and right. But how many, and again, this is by no means a true analog car. I mean, it's still got much technology, don't get me wrong, but how many more simplistic designed vehicles like this relative to, to hybrids and EVs do you think we'll have left? And do you think anyone will actually follow them down their path? A lot of the big boys, I mean, Lamborghini, all those guys, they're having hybrids, they're killing their V12s to make V10s and V8s with the electric motors bolted on there. But let me know in the comments, because as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Other interesting business news, you have Lego to switch to more expensive, non-oil-based materials for reasons. Which is great because, Legos aren't inherently expensive already. Oh wait, they're comically expensive because of the very, 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 very high, very, very intricate parts that have to lock into each other. The tolerances are very, 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 very minimal. That's one of the reasons why they're so prohibitively expensive for some people, and it's why Mega Bloks are so cheap. It's also considered a knockoff, but nevertheless, Mega Bloks, I mean, the tolerances are basically nothing. I mean, you just smash those things together. I mean, they'll do whatever you want. You just smash together. Legos got to be really particular how you actually assemble them. And yeah, most of their career, they've been an oil byproduct, which, there's nothing wrong with pretty much everything nearly everything in our lives. So if you look at what you're wearing, what you're using as electronics from your car to your house, they all mostly have oil byproducts in them. I mean, they're pretty durable, but I partially digress. Getting to the actual article with the Lego company. Now, this is by Breck Dumas, who's a writer over at Fox Business, which is somehow still in business. I think I account for about 18% of their network traffic. I check their website maybe every other day. I'm only partially exaggerating, but they say, quote, Lego swapping Oh, sorry, let me pull it up so you can actually see the title. Lego swapping oil in this bricks for more expensive renewable plastic. Danish toy maker says it's on track to reach its goal of oil-free bricks by 2032. Which, again, wise economic individual named Thomas Sowell once said there's no such thing as solutions like trade-offs. This is a big trade-off. Your product is already very expensive. Now you're going to make it even more expensive, thereby limiting the number of people who can actually purchase your product. So, I mean, and again, their patents have expired. So Lego is around as a trademark. You can't use their name or the logo, but the patent, they expired a couple of years ago. So that's why I go to even to the dollar store these days. Again, click that subscribe button. I have a theory that when I first started the show, not a lot of people tuned in. I had terrible speaking skills. Believe it or not, spoke even faster than I do now. Didn't enunciate anything, and mostly not monotone. But as I slowly but surely gain more subscribers, I've been increasing my speaking acumen. Some might argue it's just a modicum improvement. However, I would say an improvement nevertheless. So if you can click that button, I'd really appreciate it as I continue to someday to have a whole episode without a speaking mishap. Got to reverse that there. So click that button again. I greatly appreciate it, and someday we'll get to a whole episode perfectly spoken. Perhaps someday. No promises, but nevertheless, good old Lego. Yeah, it's just gonna be even. I mean, even when I was a kid, I mean, I was very, very fortunate. I never went hungry, but getting a new Lego set was a very rare thing, and I mean, it was never the big ones, and I was very grateful for the ones I had. I remember the one with this rock mining one was a popular when I was a kid. But let's go ahead and see if we can get a couple close-ups of those iconic interlocking bricks. And again, it is one of the most popular toys in history. Now they say, quote, Lego says it's on track to achieve the goal of replacing oil in its bricks entirely with renewable plastics by 2030 after inking deals with major producers that can provide fossil-free materials for the long term. I want to know how reliable will they be? Because again, with the exception of the brown bricks, because again, those have, I forget the certain byproduct or additive that they have for that brick. Check out any Lego forums or the fun Lego, the Facebook groups where you can see the creations. Those notoriously are brittle and they do break. But besides that, I mean, they're darn almost as reliable as a Toyota. Now they say, quote, the Danish toy maker said it plans to gradually swap out oil-based plastics in their bricks with certified renewable resin. Jeez, this is a terrible idea. Which is 70% more expensive than the raw plastic typically come from the colorful building bricks. CEO Niels Christensen told Reuters this means a significant increase in the cost of producing the Lego brick. Wow. He suggested that the company would not pass along the cost added to consumers. Yeah, right. He says, quote, with a family owner committed to sustainability, it's a privilege that we can pay extra for raw materials without having to charge extra to our customers. They have 70%, they have that much profit margin then they can absorb this? And historically, I mean, throughout just the natural byproduct of time, most businesses increase in costs throughout time. You got natural inflation, sometimes government causing inflation, but all the components from the little color printed books, you got the ink there, you got the paper there, you got the cardboard, you got the research development, the manufacturing, it all goes up in price. And he's saying, oh yeah, we're just going to absorb this. I hope this is true. I mean, I hope he says, oh yeah, we're just going to absorb the cost. But I am so skeptical because all these CEOs say this, and I don't know how often it actually is true. He said, quote, geez Louise. But I say, well, at least it is some research. They say, quote, Lego noted that its decision to transition away from oil-based bricks was not made recently. The company tested more than 600 alternative materials over the past 8 years. Now they say, quote, in 2022, Lego began investing more than $1.4 billion in sustainability initiatives over a 4-year period in order to transition to more sustainable materials and cut its carbon emissions by 37% by 2032. Only they had that much dedication to make their product more affordable so they can increase the volume of their business. And therefore, they actually have more money. Partially digress. They say, quote, Lego's oil-free material suppliers are using bio-waste such as cooking oil or food industry waste fat and recycled materials to replace virgin fossil fuels in plastic production. Those are impressive sales. The company says the sales through January to June rose 13% to 31 billion Danish crowns. Okay, in real, well, slightly more real US fiat money, only slightly more legitimate than monopoly money. That's $4.65 billion. By comparison, Lego increased its first half sales by 1% last year and 17% in 2022. And they say that the CEO Christensen now expects a double-digit growth in 2024 compared to the earlier single-digit growth. Yeah, I don't know about that. So Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, but interesting to see. Let me know in the comments. I mean, Lego's one of the best toys in history. I mean, shoot, I still have mine my parents' place somewhere, probably in the attic. I mean, I still remember those sets we assembled back in the day. And I can't but think, man, do you honestly think that the price is not going to go up? I don't think they're going to have a choice. Even if they have ridiculously good profit margins right now, I mean, hopefully those suppliers that they're teaming up with will be able to drastically reduce it through a massive purchasing volume, perhaps, but not good fiscal news for the people who are trying to buy Legos, I don't think. Let me know in the comments, and then let me know what was your favorite Lego set, and when was the last time you actually bought some? Let me know in the comments. As always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Other interesting business news: you have Footlocker moving their headquarters from New York to Florida. Yeah, we could have all seen this coming. I have a running bet with some of the friends, and let me know in the comments. Can you name a single business that has moved to California or Florida, or sorry, to California or New York in the past 5-10 years? Again, click that subscribe button. It'll help me with my speaking aptitudes, probably. See, getting enough people to click that button. That's why I keep me speaking on this episode. At least that's my running theory. Let help fuel that theory and see if it comes true. Have a perfectly articulate episode someday, perhaps. Now, this comes with thanks to Allison Murphy, who is a writer over at Fox Business, which, again, now we're up to like 19% of their total network traffic. I'm only, again, partially exaggerating. And she says, quote, another exit, Footlocker to relocate headquarters from New York to Florida. The footwear company is currently headquartered in New York. You can see their iconic Footlocker stores, which, interestingly enough, it's one of those things where I always walk past it. I know what it is, but yeah, have you ever bought anything from Footlocker? Remember when I was a kid, Galleons was this popular sporting goods store. I would go there for my running shoes. And later in life, I went to the New Balances because, made in America. And those are individually owned in terms of franchise stores. So you're supporting your local family more often than not. But yeah, have you ever gone to Footlocker? A little deceiving. I don't see a single Footlocker in the Footlocker store. Do they even sell them? A little bit of fake advertising there, I think. In all seriousness, they say, quote, the footwear retailer said that the city of St. Petersburg would become its new corporate headquarters in late 2025. Footlocker said it is seeking to, quote, further build the company's meaningful presence in St. Petersburg while enabling increased collaboration across teams, across banners, across functions, while also reducing cost. Ahaha, that last one is key because it's very, very, very expensive to run a business in New York or California. They continue to say, quote, the retailer already had a, quote, very meaningful commercial and executive team presence in St. Petersburg, according to CEO Mary Dillon. The company won't be requiring relocation for workers, she told analysts and investors. So I was going to say, we're not requiring it. Hopefully they give them a bonus if they want to get the heck out of New York. I imagine wanting to stay there. So Dillon actually said, quote, historically, that was originally the headquarters of Champs Sporting Goods. We have a large concentration of folks there already, and we think it's a great place for us to continue to grow and do business and continue to attract top talent. Unquote. They say, quote, this is Fox News. Meanwhile, Footlocker's corporate presence in New York City will be limited in the future. Yeah, they're going to shrink that down to nothing. I can't imagine. Just imagine how much they're spending just on real estate. That's huge. Imagine if you have to work there. Imagine how much the government is stealing. I mean, taxing your paycheck. Now, Dillon said, quote, the HQ location to the Sunshine State will, quote, going to continue to give us better opportunities, both for further collaboration across the business, and there's some financial benefits over time as well. Well, of course. I'm sure they got a nice, yeah, I'm sure they got a good, yeah, I'm pretty sure they got a good tax incentive package. I mean, that's one of the reasons why Toyota relocated their headquarters out of California to the great state, or some might argue the great country of Texas, specifically Plano, because they didn't have to pay property tax for, I believe, 10 or 15 years, but they generated and brought over 5,000 tax-paying workers. There's a big upside to that situation. Now, Footlocker linked up this corporate move in an effort to, quote, further support strategic progress in its lace-up plan, which, of all the funny plans you hear for turnarounding businesses and expanding businesses, you gotta give me A+ for marketing. Their business turnaround plan is called the lace-up plan, which makes sense. They sell mostly shoes, although looks like they also have hats in this picture as well and sweaters. Everything but Footlockers, apparently. They say, quote, the lace-up plan, which kicked off in March, included initiatives like new store formats, moving away from mall stores, revamping its loyalty program, and leaning more into digital to improve Footlocker's growth. The footwear retailer has launched a global technology services hub in Dallas, slated for next month, in a move separate from the company's headquarters relocation. Dillon said the site will, quote, be a key enabler of our technology infrastructure modernization under the lace-up plan, which also makes sense. Dallas-Fort Worth has a great technological presence, not just companies, but also talent to choose from. Here, pulling up their actual stock graph. Oh, stock is frozen. So good news I was going to say, if you're an investor, you should be happy as all hell. That's going to be more money they can put into research, development, hiring new people, increasing the pay of the current employees, and pretty much just making the business better. So I suppose this could also be part of the political part of the challenge, because again, that is a mechanism, or that is like one of the reasons they are moving away. Because again, politics affect businesses, affect tax codes. It's one of the many variables why businesses leave one state for another. And I'm not surprised. Florida and Texas have been two of the biggest places that companies have been moving to the past couple of years. And I don't see that trend turning around anytime soon. Out of curiosity, when's the last time you actually shopped at Footlocker? And what's your favorite thing about that company? Let me know in the comments. As always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the cultural part of the podcast, you have Shake Shack vowing to have 50% African American leadership by 2025, sparking controversy around DEI, hiring quotas, and inequities in terms of, wait a minute, you're not accepting certain resumes? Seems illegal. Technically, it is. However, culturally, very similar to many laws like jaywalking in the United States, we're not seeing a lot of lawsuits around it yet. I suspect we will, especially in the next couple of years, especially after the Supreme Court have shot down DEIs, and with colleges, saying that colleges cannot change the way of the scales. They can't actually block or hire people based on that component. Now, this is brought to us thanks to Liz of TikTok on the good old X Twitter, in which she says, quote, Shake Shack, and she actually tags them, promises by 2025 their leadership will be 50% black. They also boast about ensuring more women and black people get promotions. In other words, they will discriminate against white people. How is this legal? Then she has actually straight from their corporate website. And let me pull that up here. Kind of hilarious. I actually do have a white guy who's actually smiling in that picture. And I don't think he realizes, oh, wait a minute, this means inherently I will be barred from certain opportunities because they're shifting the scales. They're going to be weighing these different factors. And if they have to meet those goals, that means your resume is not going to be accepted. Now, he says, quote, again, this is from actually Shake Shack themselves. They say, quote, by 2025, we are targeting 50% of Shake Shack leadership and 30% home office leadership roles filled by people of color, while also achieving gender parity across all leadership roles. At the end of 2023, our Shake Shack team has been comprised of 44% people of color and 36% women. Our recruitment strategies and partnerships, along with our growth as an organization, have created new opportunities for top talent to advance into key leadership roles. Unquote. I'm adding, depending on what you look like, which should be about who's working like hell and going above and beyond, but that's my 3 cents. Used to be 2 cents, but 40-year hyperinflation. Gotta be 3 cents now. Though it is still free to click that subscribe button. They continue saying, quote, in the home office roles, directors and above, 22% of leaders were people of color and 45% were women at the end of 2023. We are committed to ensuring that diverse talent is considered for all open roles, especially those that have key leadership positions. We provide our people with targeted development opportunities to enhance their skills, and we continue to explore new recruiting channels and partnerships to engage diverse talent. While we are making progress towards our goal, we acknowledge that the real change takes time. We remain committed to attain gender parity and diverse representation in terms of background, thought, and experiences for these critical leadership positions. Unquote. And they, looks like, I don't know, maybe these employees didn't realize what they were posing for. But yeah, it looks like that picture was team members from the West Hollywood Shake Shack in Los Angeles, California. Ironically, I'm pretty sure they just closed a couple more sites in California because they weren't making money and they're going to negative, in part because of the new $20 per hour law or minimum wage law for California fast food workers. It also increased the cost of goods sold to the consumer, as well as caused 10,000 people to lose their jobs. Great job, California. And yet, it sparked a lot of controversy because, again, the only way to hit those quotas is by blocking, in terms of the U.S. population, the U.S. does not have an exact equal representation of the population. You have certain, like right now, the demographics are constantly shifting in the United States, but over 50% are Caucasian. I believe about, 13 to 15% are African American. So again, for those to be 50-50 in the office, you do have to artificially boost one resume over the other. And this is becoming more and more controversial. 6 years ago, this is pretty common practice. I'm not saying it was ethical. I don't think you should ever exclude someone's resume based on things they cannot control. But especially I used to work for tech companies before I started my own, and that was very common. Even as recently as 2 years ago, I remember at a giant server manufacturer with a green logo, HPE. Well, if you had an employee referral program, if you refer an employee to the company and they are white or Caucasian, they give the employee a $500 bonus. If they referred someone to HPE and they became an employee and they're African American, they got a $2,000 bonus. The person who referred the new employee to the company, which again, shows the big incentive mechanism and shows what the company wants to go in terms of direction of kind of who they hire. And yet, this is, I guess, at least on social media, backfiring at Shake Shack. So we'll go ahead and look at these comments as well as we'll go to Shake Shack. And yes, very similar to other instances where we've seen, people are starting to go back on the old post of Shake Shack and, as youth might say, roast them viscerally. Now, again, going to Libs of TikTok, it's got about 500,000 views and 16,000 likes. One of the first comments comes from Libercat Media TM saying, quote, "This is what DEI is about for them." It is a little anagram. Get the specific vernacular or the term for where you have each initial meaning something. So they say DEI, and they actually says spelled out as diversity means fewer white people, inclusion means excluding white people, equity means stealing something from white people. I got 675 likes. Gunther Eagleman says, quote, "Shake Shack is trash. They should hire based on merit, not skin color," getting 692 likes. Liver Summit TikTok responded saying DEI is racism, getting 597 likes. Which again, it's you cannot hire people. It's federally illegal, and yet we have the president of the United States. Biden said he's going to hire people based on their race and gender, which again is federally illegal. But I mean, culturally and politically, there's no appetite to actually call him out on that. Or some people called him out on that, but they didn't actually prosecute him or give him a fine or anything. SandsFast84 says it's not, but they still do. I effing hate the world right now. Everything that's wrong is right, and everything that's right is wrong. 319 likes. Planet of Memes, disappointment. They say they're the Planet of Memes, and yet they responded in word form only. However, this alleged Planet of Memes says shut down Shake Shack, getting 177 likes. Also, Zupa says it's illegal to hire based on race. Trump's Department of Justice needs to prosecute any company that does this. I'm quoting 319 likes. The Rogue Political says, quote, "Shake Shack promising their leadership will be black equals get ready to see the end of a Shake Shack. The moment you hire someone based on skin color and not skill is the moment your company starts to fall from within." Unquote. That got 214 likes. Tony SO1 says, well, DEI isn't helping them stay in business. And it's an article linked saying how they are closing 9 restaurants across 3 states, getting 49 likes. Which again, I'm not sure if that's a main mechanism or the main variable that's causing those businesses to close. I think it's partially because minimum wage laws, but it might be a component. I don't know if it's the major component leading to the store closures, though. Manster says blacks are 13% of the U.S. population, but need to comprise 50% of the leadership roles. How could that be fair? Shouldn't hiring quotas directly reflect the U.S. population statistics taken into the most recent census? Unquote. Getting 95 likes. So somewhat contrarian statement. Yeah, a little bit. Again, a lot of people in the comments are saying just hire, take every single resume and then hire the best person, just hire the best man for the job, who has the most work experience, who's going above and beyond, who has the most, there are many variables that you can take into account. Here. NorCal News says they're closing many California restaurants because they can't compete with the In-N-Out already. This move will further seal their fate. I'm quoting 47 likes. Again, in terms of restaurant closures, that'd be interesting. I think right now the biggest variable that's hurting that right now is the increase in minimum wage laws. And also the compelling reason to go Shake Shack. I've heard of Shake Shack, even got a coupon once. And granted, I really don't eat out unless I have a client with me for my tech company, so I'm pretty frugal myself. But I've never had an overwhelming desire, compelling reason to go and patron a Shake Shack store. Let's see here. Any contrarian statements? Frank Truslow says, if you're a white male and work there, get out. You have no future there. Getting 46 likes, which statistically you do, but the odds are literally against you. Dave Valiant says, I'll never go to any Shake Shack again after learning this, getting 105 likes. Now, granted, this is Libs of TikTok. The average person who follows her is probably more libertarian, maybe more in the middle, maybe more on the right. But what about the people who follow Shake Shack? Everyone eats, except maybe robots. But they might be already among us. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. My heart will break slightly a little bit if you don't realize which movie I'm referencing. But I partially digress. Let me know in the comments if you know that one. Now, going straight to the Shake Shack's website, or rather their ex-Twitter profile. This is their most recent one, and it says, Shake Shack says, in our dog days era. Then it has a picture of a couple of hot dogs and some French fries, and high fructose corn syrup in a cup, known as ketchup. It has some red dye in there as well, a derivative of a tomato, or tomato if you're across the seas. And for food, it looks, I guess, moderately appealing. And got 8,875 views, which is pretty good for a small business like that. Unless you're Toyota or Honda or someone really large, you're really pushing out your not reviews, promoting your post. It's pretty common to get about that much for this size brand. I'd say that's good. They only got 34 likes though. So not the best like ratio. And again, another friendly reminder to like this video or downvote it. Let me know why. And they actually have a promo. They say now through I guess what's this? Yeah, promo's gone. But it says now through 8:30. Oh, yeah, 8:30. Get a free hot dog with a $10 purchase, term supply. Getting 10 likes. But let's get to the constant people. The first one comes from Cynthia Holt saying go woke, go broke, and she reposts Lives a TikTok article. Captain USA Texas. I like it. Though it has a pirate bandana instead of a Texas hat, skull and bones. Not the best marketing, but I'll allow it. It says, quote, you can shove those in your DEI hire asses. Then he has reposted Lives a TikTok article. It got 58 likes. Let's see. James, what is this name? James, Tim, or Uncle Bo. That's a long profile name. Says, quote, so you openly admit that you discriminate against white people in your hiring practices. Be sure to know you'll never get a penny from me. Getting 151 likes and a hashtag go woke, go broke. Kitty Cat just reposted the TikTok article, getting 26 likes. Awake No Woke says, if you are white and you have turned down for a job at Shake Shack, sue them, getting 53 likes. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of lawsuits around this. Now, again, it depends on who the district, it depends on your judge, your attorney. Depending on where that case goes, maybe the people say we like this, so we're not actually going to prosecute. Dude says no whites allowed, and he reposted Lives on TikTok article, getting 61 likes. Corn Pop has a family guy picture. We have the template of the skin colors. And it says not okay with the white tints, then okay around the brown and black ones, getting 46 likes. Let's see. Taffy3 says, I don't knowingly patronize any racist business, and you've announced to the world you are. Good luck with that, unquote. Getting 8 likes. Rose B says no whites allowed. Also reposted a TikTok article, getting 23 likes. John DC says, can't go to your store. You apparently don't like whites, getting 84 likes. Coke Z says, do you expect whiteys to spend their money at your stores when you discriminate against hiring them? Not only illegal, but stupid, getting 170 likes. Here. Yeah, is that a company policy that someone posted down there? See if I could preview that really quick, or got love in the preview. That there. And not a single. It's not. I'm looking. A lot of people calling for a boycott. Again, it's one of the easiest things to boycott because there are a lot of options when it comes to fast food these days. One more. Gordon Schwumway says, my family's done with your restaurant. White people buy burgers and shakes, I'm quoting 46 likes. So quite a short-term backlash against Shake Shack. Now, I'm not sure if they're going to back off these policies, if they're going to pivot to something else, or if they're going to kind of lean into it. But again, culturally speaking, and again, they are appealing to a market. There are some people who will patronize Shake Shack just because of this. I'm sure those people do exist, mostly in San Francisco, but in all seriousness, it's not an insignificant portion of the market. However, overall, I don't think a majority of the market is going to appreciate this marketing, well, not just marketing technique, but in this case, a company policy. And I think it might backfire, as this has become a very politicized and very controversial cultural thing in the United States. But let me know, would you never patronize their store again because of this policy? Do you even know it's a thing? And then, have you even had their burgers, and are you even that good to begin with? Let me know in the comments, because as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Other interesting cultural news, you have illegals try to hijack a school bus in San Diego, but I thought the border was secure. Oh yes, that's right, it never really was. It's never been more open. This comes straight from Elon Musk himself on the X Twitter. He's responding to a post by End Wokeness. End Wokeness says, quote, breaking, illegal aliens try to hijack 2 buses full of kids in San Diego. Border czar Harris owns this mess, unquote. There's a short video, and I'll highlight there as well. Elon says, quote, when is enough? And this went pretty viral. It got 10.9 million views, as well as 156,000 likes. And it looks like there's about 40-second good summary article here, or rather, a little video. This is apparently from the Jumal Duzara Union School District of Civil Excellence. And say, wow. So this little letter says, good morning, afternoon, families. Earlier today, I notified transportation families about 2 recent incidents involving our school buses on Highway 94. Both incidents involved people who are either trying to stop or board a bus at the school bus at the stop. First, I want to say thank you to our bus drivers, keeping our students safe. and to the persons who helped ensure that the bus was not boarded. They say we will be in contact with the Border Patrol, the Sheriff's Office, CHP throughout the day. And in addition, multiple news organizations and representatives in the office have reached out. We will continue to work with law enforcement down the matter. We have put additional protocols in place and notified parents of bus riders. This afternoon, our Director of Transportation followed the buses to ensure everyone got home safety. I am thankful for the community for keeping our eyes open and being part of the solution. JDUSD is committed to keeping our students, families, and staff safe at all times. If you have any questions, reach out to me. This is from the Superintendent, Liz. There's a little summary here. Oh.
A group of migrants tried to board a school bus this morning while it was traveling to
This is actually Fox 5 business, or sorry, Fox 5.
School. The superintendent for the Humboldt del Zura Union School District informed parents of that incident earlier today. It happened at one of the stops on the school district's bus route that heads to Oak Grove Middle School and Humboldt Primary. Meanwhile, yesterday afternoon, in a similar area along another route, the superintendent says that a group of migrants tried to stop another bus. Border Patrol, CHP, and the Sheriff's Office have now been informed of these incidents. The superintendent says that for the safety of everyone, if a driver sees a group of migrants at a bus stop, they will drive past it and move on to the next.
I want to say the quiet part out loud, but you know, I suspect because it's California, eh? Probably not, but another good reason why you should have armed school bus drivers. Again, it's the most precious things. Ironically, by the people who end their lives through truth. But it's one of those things where, well, an armed bus would be a lot more able to protect those students. Well, that's just my 3 cents. It used to be 2 cents, but 40-year hyperinflation, gotta be 3 cents. Let me know if your thoughts. Again, this is right next to Mexico. It's over in California. Seems like it'd be a good, prudent decision to have that bus driver be able to stop and ideally have them have greater arms than people who might possibly hurt them to give them to the advantage. Now, going to the comments section, one of the first comments comes from Gunther Eagleman. He says, quote, "When the few brave stand up against the tyrants, they have to be reckoned with. It's come long overdue. We must regain control of our country." Gained 1.7 thousand likes. And yeah, it'd be nice if we had a secure border. That would help with the myriad of things, including the fentanyl overdoses. Stats 84 says, "It won't be enough until the people, we the people do something. We are at war with our government." This picture of George Washington, and it's a painting, says, quote, "If I was alive, I'd bitch slap all you Americans for lying this shit, grow a pair of balls, and take government back." And 959 likes, and yet another reason to go out and vote. Because again, a weak border policy is why all this is happening. Stats 84 also says, quote, "Bring this to the politicians' doorsteps, let one of their kids be victimized, and they will have it stop. I hate saying this, but it's true. They won't stop until the person feels the pain of the open borders." Gained 207 likes. Ironically, the people who think you should not have school choice and think that you should have to go to school based on your zip code alone, those politicians also have their kids go to private schools with a nice private security guarding them. Colin Rugg says, quote, "When they get enough illegals into the country, they'll never lose another election." True. Gained 710 likes. Democrat BATM says it's all over border czar. It's a little Rotten Tomatoes parody of Kamala Harris with her signature cackling smile. It says Tomato Dater at 80%, audience score at 17%, getting 20 likes. Steve says, when it personally affects politicians' lives or when Donald Trump gets elected in November, getting 1.1 thousand likes. Trump Army says this is awful, and it's especially Kamala, but the text says, quote, "Where's the 320,000 children we lost? Just kidding, we don't care." And 358 likes. World of Statistics, a little disappointing they did not actually tweet a statistic. However, the World of Statistics profile says, quote, "In or to degree of quantity, this satisfies or that sufficient or necessary for satisfaction." Getting 65 likes. James Lindsay, anti-communist, says, quote, "For communists, never." Getting 516 likes. Chuck Costello says, "It will only stop when someone like Trump takes office." Getting 459 likes. Peter St. Ogle says, "This would be a top news story in any normal country. Our media is silent." Getting 361 likes. America AF says, "No one is safe in California." Getting 342 likes. Yeah, there's been multiple reports where there are actually multiple instances of the cartel in particular across the United States. It's one of those things where it doesn't get talked about enough. Is this really Caitlyn Jenner, the real one? It is. Yeah. So, yeah, it's a Caitlyn. So, Caitlyn says, "Harris and Newsom policies in action in California. Make no mistake, Harris will Harris, if elected for another 4 years, will turn America into a nightmare we know as California today. And 454 likes. And again, the silver lining of the situation of this, thankfully, is that the kids in this particular situation were not hurt. And, you know, they were able to fend off the negative ramifications that could be the situation. So again, there's some silver lining here. But yeah, I don't know how many times this has to happen before people realize, you know, there are infinite upsides to having a protected border. But let me know, are you surprised by this? And then do you think California will change their policies so the bus drivers are armed? What are your thoughts are? Do you think that'd be a great way or effective way to dissuade people who want to actually harm the children? Let me know in the comments. As always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the political part podcast, you have Steven Crowder breaking a story with the United Nations, admitting they're basically 95% useless, and yeah, they're fearful of Trump. Now, this comes to us thanks to Steven Crowder and the Mug Club, which the Mug Club Army is basically, I don't know how many, tens of thousands, 100,000 independent Mug Club fans or participants have turned into independent reporters and able to go undercover and give that company all this great data. Now, this comes straight from Steven Crowder's profile on the good old X Twitter. She says, quote, breaking self-described globalist United Nations legal affairs official says he's, quote, not sure institution is going to survive second Trump term, reveals colleagues are terrified of his re-election, admits the UN is 95% useless. I think he's giving himself a little too much credit there. Primary function of the primary function of international peace and security. And he says on the definition of globalist, one of the objectives of the UN is to create an identity of global citizen. It's a threat to the absolute power of the United States. I'm not sure the United Nations is an institution that's going to survive a second term by Trump. They want America first, which, yeah, funny how we got global war and all these hundreds. I mean, it's not funny, it's sad that all these people are dying from this war, all these wars. I mean, what? I mean, besides, you know, disarming law-abiding citizens, what is the UN doing these days? And it's a little bit long, but I think this, I mean, if I skip over part two, this is one of the most important undercover stories. Because again, it's been all one of those rumors for years. Like, what? I mean, how much do we pay to the UN? What benefit does it give you and I? But not too much further to do.
So is globalism one of the goals for the UN?
Absolutely. It's a threat to the absolute power of the UN.
And yet, I forgot to put that dollar in the Alex Jones' right jar. Yet another conspiracy proved to be true. The UN just coming out and saying, oh yeah, that's our goal.
One of the defining features of this MAGA movement is the ultranationalism. And one of the main enemies are what they call the globalists. And the definition of a globalist.
One of the objectives of the UN is to create an identity of a globalist citizen.
I wonder if the UN is one with all these migrants illegally going to all these different nations at the same time. Are they funding that, maybe? I don't know.
This institution, which is the closest we've ever got to kind of like a world government.
You know, the United Nations does not have its own army. Absolutely.
I'm not sure the United Nations as an institution is going to survive a second term by Donald Trump. The United States government funds 27% of the UN budget.
Is that more than anyone else?
Oh, by a long stretch.
A United Nations without the action of the United States backing it up, it's not going to be effective.
The purpose of Donald Trump is to end the international institutions that somehow level the playing field. It's a movement that is deeply nationalistic. It's America first, America, make America great again, America, America, America. He wants America first.
So does the UN not want him? Yeah, because I remember her
I mean, we are terrified. They're terrified.
So the internal vibe of the UN is like no one wants Trump because of that?
Absolutely nobody wants Trump.
So is the UN just like useless now? I
would say for 95% of issues related to international peace and security, yes.
95% useless. I think that's also generous too. I think it's even more useless personally.
I work more with the legal counsel, which is the lawyer of the United Nations.
One of the defining features of this MAGA movement is the ultranationalism.
international.
No,
And it's just like right
nationalism.
now, like the market is worse than
It's a movement that is deeply nationalistic. It's America first, America, make America great again, America, America. We hate immigrants, we hate everybody that
more competition.
is not us, doesn't think like us, doesn't look like us, right? That's a central element.
I'm happy to bowling. That was fun.
And one of the main enemies are what they call the globalists.
I mean, it's cool.
And the definition of a globalist.
I think that's just cool.
I'm not sure the United Nations as an institution is going to survive a second term by Donald Trump.
You still love it. It's not like wait, say that again. Like, oh, I don't want to come.
I'm not sure the UN is going to survive a second term of Donald Trump.
Why do you say that? There's nothing like I don't.
Because the
It's interesting.
purpose of Donald Trump is to end the international institutions that somehow level the playing field.
Yeah,
He wants America first.
So does the UN not want him? Yeah, because I remember her
I mean, we are terrified. We're terrified. They create this institution, which is the closest we've ever got to kind of like a world government.
The world government,
A world state.
like a one world government.
Exactly.
So is globalism one of the goals for the UN?
Absolutely. It's to create a space for also the creation of a consciousness of a species, of a planet, of an identity as a planet. One of the objectives of the UN is to create an identity of a global citizen.
Of a global citizen?
Yes. Of someone who shares an identity, a political identity with everybody on this planet.
Is that known though, that the UN wants, that that's one of the goals of the UN?
Yes. Yes.
This is Jorge Pagliani. He's Associate Legal Officer, Treaty Section, UN Office of Legal Affairs.
And I get it. That is annoying for people that are ultra-nationalists. But it's a threat to the absolute power of the United States.
Why?
Because they don't want an institution over the U.S. telling the U.S. what to do.
Damn right. Knowing the U.S. elected you, we abide by the Founding Fathers' principles. No American or no true American should ever want to acquiesce and take orders from the UN.
The United States pays 27% of the total budget.
What a waste! 27% comes from the United States. That's your and I tax dollars going to this organization that does essentially nothing for us. They admit they're 95% ineffective at their one purpose, which they claim is world peace. I'm not sure how many people have ever read a history book. Well, less people in the United States, unfortunately, with the public school system on average. But yeah, there hasn't been a lot of time when there's peace in the world. Ironically, well, actually, no, wait. When Trump was in office, anecdotally speaking, there was one time in my life where he didn't have any new wars. If anything, the UN should love him. But of course, they disdain him. Which begs the question, what are they going to do to make sure he doesn't get elected, if anything? Let me rewind that crazy statistic on how much we prop up this company, or this organization.
The United States pays 27% of the total budget of the United States. For example,
Oh, friendly reminder, we're $35 trillion in debt, thanks to the ineptitudes of the Democrats and Republicans. 35%. Or sorry, $35 trillion. And counting. It goes up every second of the day. And yet, we're still paying for all these things that I would love to hear. What are the 3 bullet points or accomplishments they've had for the average person in the United States?
example, say that the United Nations creates an environmental agency, and that environmental agency says that countries can only reach a certain level of pollution. How do you think all these crazy MAGA people are going to react to that? Who are you, globalists, to tell me, the United States, what I can do?
Damn right.
So is the UN just like useless now?
I would say for 95% of issues related to international peace and security, yes.
95%
Yes.
related to international
It's not
matters?
international peace and security.
International peace and security.
Yes, which is the main goal of this institution.
So it's 95% useless for that.
It's 95% useless.
There are many instances of human rights in which skillful lawyers can take cases.
So you get the picture. They're utterly useless. And thankfully this went pretty viral. Got 1.9 million views as well as 14,000 likes. And yet another reason as to the value of Mug Club, which is the subscription service for Louder with Crowder, and all the people who the members become undercover reporters who can get these awesome stories like this. Not a paid ambassador by any means, just a fan. And yeah, this is phenomenal footage. And yet, I say it once, I say it twice, say it a million times. Yet another reason to put the dollar in the jar that Alex Jones is right jar. Now, some of the top comments coming from Paul Zupa saying, quote, he admits the UN is a globalist institution that wants to basically do away with the countries that have global citizens. That means no borders, defund the UN, getting 1.5 thousand likes. Brandon Morello says that's the most beautiful Trump 2024 ad that I think I've ever seen. Yep, getting 372 likes. The Texas one says America must get out of the United Nations, and the United Nations must get out of America. Getting 506. Well, let's change that. So they get 507 likes. Transparency 84 says, wow, this is incredible and it's true. Donald Trump will end the relationship with the United Nations. This is what we need, getting 549 likes. And how many of our tax dollars is going to prop that place up? Ridiculous. Cash Loren says, good, do not give any sovereignty to globalists inside the UN, getting 95 likes. LWC Mug Club has the iconic, I forget which dystopian movie this was. You have the gentleman who could only see the reality through the glasses. When he put on the glasses, he saw the aliens with the human outfits on them. And without the glasses, he looks at the sign and says United Nations. He puts it on, and has the hammer sickle. It says, well, it's a gay hammer and sickle with the pride colors. It says globalism. Getting 225, make it 226 likes. Okay. This good meme. It says, I love American News, profile name, says, quote, I vote for Trump. A vote for Trump is a vote for peace. And it has a picture of Trump with the Middle Eastern leaders. And it says, the Middle East under Trump, there was, peace in the Middle East. Look at history, how rare is that? And it says, Middle East under Democrats, and the juxtaposition of that picture is, war zone, getting 208 likes. Ian Hansen says, UN 95% useless, more like 99.5% useless, getting 620 likes. J Cash Maga Queen says, I'm already voting for Trump. The UN doesn't have to convince me more. Good meme, getting 346 likes. Alpha Bravo says, the UN is a criminal organization, getting 133 likes. Costello says, valuable information here. Great journalism, 577 likes. 78 likes. Wow, I'll make it 79. Just keeps going up before our eyes like a stock market price. Jeff Smith says, and there you have it. They are terrified of Donald Trump winning, getting 136 likes. And they see the contrarian statements here. Because again, there are globalists who live in the United States. They want, one global government control everything we do. Here. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not seeing any contrarian statements here. I mean, historically, they've already had a pretty poor track record when it comes to human rights, as well as, disarming people not believing the Second Amendment. But let me know, are you surprised about this, breaking story? So one of those things where people thought about for years, but then do you think this will get people to actually go and vote for Trump, or do you think those people already have the same ideology and they're all going to vote for Trump anyway? I guess the real question is how many people who are maybe politically alienated or, libertarians, more people in the middle who haven't already been inspired to vote for Trump, how many of them will be inspired by this video and realize how much is really on the line? I think I'd venture to say it's quite a few folks, but let me know in the comments. As always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have Kamala Harris's CNN quote-unquote interview was only about 18 minutes long. She had Tim Walz as I believe the correct term is emotional support dog or whatever they have. And yeah, she actually now brags about the Inflation Reduction Act, which again is a great use case of anytime a politician left or right tells you, oh yeah, we have this new bill, it's going to help you out. Whatever they label that bill, usually it's the opposite. Some political commentator made the joke of it. There's a bill that was called the Save Puppies Act. The actual act would be about, ending their lives prematurely. And that's just like the Inflation Reduction Act. It was just a Green New Deal with a new title. And it actually caused more inflation by pumping more money into unprofitable segments of the industry in the quote-unquote green energy, which is not green money-wise or even efficiently-wise, but they think it's green because it's solar panels and wind, which are getting more efficient, but are still major loss leaders, especially wind. Windmill takes like 20 years to break even in terms of return on investment. even in windy areas, it's not yet to the point where it's worth it. Solar, a little bit better, but still a struggle. This comes to us thanks to EML Strong over the X Twitter. And he says, quote, Kamala Harris confirms that how far her left policies have not changed one bit. She's still as bad as she was in 2019. This is it is CNN, so I apologize. It might be unbearable, but it's only about a minute, 8 seconds long. And here, without too much further ado.
Generally speaking, how should voters look at some of the changes that you've made, that you've explained some of here in your policy? Is it because you have more experience now and you've learned more about the information? Is it because you were...
And again, this we'll have probably more highlights of this later in the week, but this is supposed to be a live, it's supposed to be an actual interview, which she hasn't given yet. This was, one, it wasn't open to the public or, actual reporters asking her real questions. There were softballs that were pre-recorded. It also was not live. And also, why is Tim Walz there? Is it just marketing so more people know his name? Or does it make her look weak because she can't do anything on her own? I mean, in terms of moves on political chessboard, I don't think it's a prudent one. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts or opinions are into why she made that decision. Well, I'll go ahead and I'll rewind it by a couple seconds.
Because you have more experience now and you've learned more about the information? Is it because you were running for president in a Democratic primary? And should they feel comfortable and confident that what you're saying now is going to be your policy moving forward?
Dana, I think the most important and most significant aspect of my policy perspective and decisions is my values have not changed. You mentioned the Green New Deal. I have always believed, and I have worked on it, that the climate crisis is real, that it is an urgent matter to which we should apply metrics that include holding ourselves to deadlines around time. We did that with the Inflation Reduction Act. We have set goals.
Did that reduce inflation?
For the United States of America and by extension the globe around when we should meet certain standards for reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, as an example. That value has not.
Putting more families out of business, closing down more mom and pop shops. And I'm pretty well. I got 37,000 views and 758 likes. The first comment comes from David Valiant saying, quote, deadlines around time. Yeah, that's how deadlines work, Kamala. Getting 13 likes. Sam Smitha says, quote, she might be even worse. She's a radical as Tampon Tim, getting 9 likes. B says, I wonder if she got the questions in advance and was able to rehearse. Probably she'll get exposed in the debate unless she has serious questions months ahead. She probably will. Getting 2 likes. World Peace Movement says even worse than when she was a district attorney and AG in San Francisco, getting 4 likes. Which, yeah, if I was Trump, I'd be running a lot of campaign ads just to ask people, do you want the United States to become California? Because again, she's part of the system that built, well, more accurately, destroyed California, with businesses leaving pretty much every single day. And again, I have a running bet with the guys. Let me know, can you name a single business that has moved to California in the past couple of years? Hundreds are leaving, mostly for Texas and Florida. But yeah, moving to California, not so much. Let's see here. What is this? Unopinionized Fool? That's an interesting profile name. Says, I love how they picked the local Denny's to record this. Getting 3 likes. A great metaphor, perhaps, because the last Denny's in San Francisco recently closed. And they said it specifically because of politics. They said, oh yeah, we can't make money here. There's a lot of robberies, which again, they don't prosecute crime there. And yeah, the increased cost of goods sold because of the record $20 an hour minimum wage in California for fast food workers. Yeah, let me know in the comments. I think that's a little ironic. Henry B says she doesn't have her own policies, getting 1 like. Barkin says Kamala only has one goal, inherited from her father, to turn America into a communist country, getting 7 likes. Yeah, her father was a Marxist professor. Mark my own words, interesting profile name, says once a communist or Marxist communist, always a Marxist communist, getting 2 likes. Robinson MD says she's dumb, getting 2 likes. Let's see here. A couple blobs or words about how Ben Stiller's supporting her because he wants change, which again, she's been in office for 3+ years now. Kalani Z's, I apologize, I'm not trying to butcher that specific profile name, but they say, quote, she's still as incoherent as ever. Watching her speak is like watching a 1-year-old speak for first time. Or tuning in to this show. That got 3 likes. And another friendly reminder to click that subscribe button. And I will someday have a whole episode where I speak completely articulately. Someday. A man can dream. That's all I'm saying. So I always joke I don't have too much to grandstand on when it comes to critiquing Kamala and Biden just because I have many speaking ineptitudes, though I like to think I get slightly better throughout time, perhaps. Will Simmons says, quote, Dems have proven it doesn't matter who the candidate is. Joe's not in charge, and neither are those two clowns either. They just want a puppet. Getting 2 likes. Yeah, it was kind of creepy, but not surprising when you had, everyone was on the left side of the political aisle. They're all about Biden. They love him. They thought, MSNBC said before the big debate with Trump, it was the most articulate they've ever seen Biden in their life. I forget the individual reporter who said that. And everyone was saying, oh yeah, he's best. And then just at a drop of a dime, they all love Kamala now. They can't tell you why, but they just all love her and they don't care about Biden anymore. The people voted for Biden, but nevertheless, yeah, they just completely switched. And again, some people will legitimately, I don't think they're inebriated by drinking Bud Light or anything. They will actually coherently say vote blue no matter who. Well, they pronounce it articulately. I don't think it's actually the same thing to say, because to judge your candidate based on their policies or their track record, or they have any political experience, which is quite sad that some people can't name a single reason as to why they vote for her in that regard. Again, at least have an educated vote, and I'll respect your opinion even if I don't agree with it. Let's see here. Modern Centrist says, but Ben Stiller just says time for change, getting 1 like. So yeah, we'll have more excerpts of this. I think it's going to be just as unsurprising. People are they're going to be exactly what we expect. And again, it's very easy to get those interviews when you have those, it's not live, so there's not as much stress or pressure. It's not, random reporters asking her anything. It's going to be canned questions by more softballs, and just, it's pretty easy to knock out of the park if you know exactly when and where and how the ball's going to be coming your way. So I think this will, I'm not sure how much this will move the political polls or anything, in terms of the people who already like her will like her even more because she's saying something. People who don't like her won't like her because she's mainly saying canned responses. But let me know in the comments, do you think this actually moved the political poll one way or the other? People have been waiting to hear what she has to say for weeks or almost months now, actually. But let me know in the comments. As always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have the German government calling for a citizen to be arrested because they called a politician fat online. Fact check, true, she is quite a big gal. And yet a friendly reminder of how important the First Amendment is, guaranteed, and I would say perhaps the insurance being the Second Amendment. But yeah, most countries do not have a Bill of Rights. They do not have freedom of speech. And you see this more and more with totalitarian governments, not just fining citizens for critiquing their politicians, but also arresting them in true dictatorial fashion. Now, this comes to us thanks to someone by the name of Radio Geneva, and he says, quote, German police are hunting for a web user who called a German politician fat. What crime did he commit? And I'm not saying she's, an elephant. I'm just saying, in terms of structural integrity, the chair that she's sitting upon is probably reinforced very heavily, and I'm very impressed by the manufacturing process of the materials used by the chair manufacturer, because the chair is in fact still withholding her weight. And some might say she's borrowing that clothes from a moo-moo store. No buttons on the dress, nothing, just a giant cloth. I've seen better fashion at a Snuggie parade. Granted, that's probably the worst Trump policy or impression you've heard all year. At least I went for it, and perhaps it made you smile because it's that bad, hopefully. But yeah, she seriously looks like it's just a giant cloth. I'm no fashion aficionado. Even I know that's not good. I guess she has 1 ring on in terms of accessories. But yeah, she's quite large, and just saying that is getting people in trouble. And moderately viral, got about 1.8 million views and 47,000 likes. One of the first comments comes from James, says in 2024, it's a crime to tell the truth, unquote, getting 861 likes. And I'm a little biased. I'm going to have to read the reply to that comment because I think that individual is quite handsome and brilliant. It's me, hashtag The Topping Show. And I say, quote, you mistyped 1984, and I laughed out loud, getting 4 likes, which I don't know who liked it, but those are the 4 awesomest people of all time. A little biased, of course. Again, one of the most important, best books in history ever written is 1984 by George Orwell. Or if you have younger children who want to get involved in learning about freedom, I would recommend Animal Farm by George Orwell, which is a much, the book is a lot thinner, a little less complex words, much easier to digest. There's not adult themes in that book. They're not happy books by any means. They're quite horrifying and even more disappointing when you realize, oh dear God, the real world is worse than this, as we become more and more subservient to globalization and evil forces. But yeah, definitely cannot recommend that book enough. Shoot, I need to put like an affiliate link in the profile. I think I mentioned that book at least once an episode. But yeah, it's a sad book. I try to read at least once a year, and 1984 in particular. But yeah, sad, but becoming more and more of a true book. Now, someone by the name of I Love America News, so ironically, they're referencing an article in Germany, but I only parse it just. He says, quote, meanwhile in Germany, and it's an article from the Daily Mail, and it says, quote, migrant who beheaded his victim and caused his intestines to spill out whilst still alive, could avoid deportation from Germany because he was probably just come back. He will probably just come back from Somalia. He got 2,000 likes. Krista says the Blueberry Girl in Willy Wonka. And that got 2.9 thousand likes. There's it. Actually, no, she has worse fashion acumen than the girl from the Willy Wonka movie, the original one, with Gene Wilder, obviously. Because the girl in that movie, her blouse dress thing, at least had some fancy, not necessarily high top shelf, but some pretty good buttons on it. It had a little actual design to it. I mean, again, scroll to this picture. It's just like she went to Hobby Lobby. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but just got a ream of material and cut out a head and sewed together the arms on. Like, this most, I guess you have to give credit for simplicity. It's the most simplistic design I've ever seen in terms of apparel. Dataset says, quote, telling the truth is becoming more and more a crime around the world. True, getting 6.4 thousand likes. Matchpoint said, another side note, why does a majority of our law enforcement officers obese? And there's a little 33-second clip of, let's see here. Turn that music off because it's probably cliche and terrible. And here you have a skinny gal, and you got two large gal female officers who, again, a byproduct of lowering the bar time and time again to meet recruitment goals. Not a good idea. But yeah, these two police gals, and again, they're not just obese, but they do have armor. They have armor, taser. They have weighted materials on their gear on them. I understand that, but they're also obese, and also it's called weight training. It's your job. And yet they can't catch this perp. And the girl's literally running circles around them. And do you ever catch her? I guess that's the only. I mean, another upside of being healthy. You don't have to be. You just have to be slightly in shape to avoid justice in this case. Granted, it's short term with all the technology. They'll catch her inevitably. Wow. Yep. Yeah, another downside of unions as well. Again, depending on jurisdiction, your county, all that kind of stuff. There's some places where you just have to qualify once for the physical test to be an officer, which is why you see so many that are morbidly obese. And yeah, granted, majority of the time it's just handing out tickets and it's not physically active. My 3 cents, you should be physically in shape to be a police officer and, potentially fit to be served. That got 1.2 thousand likes. Oh, is it I hodl, therefore I am? Says this should work. And it says there's the electric scooters next to a called the forklift. It says scooter model Ricardo Lang. 1.3 thousand likes. Let's see. That one guy, 55, says Giant Blueberry. It's another. I guess they photoshopped her into the Willy Wonka. It says German MP Violet Martin-Pagardi. 932 likes. Also has a character, the parody of Wally, getting 495 likes. Let's see. Any contrarian statements here? Lewinsky says, telling the truth, she's morbidly obese, and who would listen to a word she says? She has no business in the government position. Getting 1.1 thousand likes. Keith Ainsworth said, but she's fat, so getting 450 likes. The Truth Seeker 01011 says, you're not allowed to tell the truth in Western liberal countries anymore. Come on, guys, you should know this by now. Well, getting 241 likes. Alex says, our world is heading towards a dystopian future. Getting 561 likes. See, any contrary? I'm not seeing any. Oh, Jesus. Oh, more pictures of her. I'm sorry. If you're watching this on the great streaming platform Rumble, or if you have to, in case you're watching YouTube, yeah, they had some more pictures of her in dresses, and they were not pretty. Let's see. So yeah, just critiquing, and again, in terms of if you want to change people's political minds, obviously you want to reference their actual policies and their ideals. I'm not sure how many people are going to move on the political spectrum in terms of not getting to support this person, but unless they're in charge of the Department of Health or something like that. But yeah, you shouldn't be. Again, it's not tasteful to make fun of someone's weight. So cyberbullying has worked. I mean, Lizzo's actually getting in shape, which I applaud her. She'll live longer because of that. I think that's a good thing. Even if I don't agree, I don't particularly like her music or actions, but still, it's one of those things where, yeah, just critiquing leadership is getting people arrested left and right. Not good news for freedom. And hopefully more people, start to vote differently and peacefully protest. Go to good old Hobby Lobby and get some card stock and let your message be known. But yeah, quite concerning. We're seeing more and more instances of people being arrested and fined for simple, peaceful political protest. But let me know, do you think this trend will continue in terms of more and more countries finding their citizens and censoring them? Or do you think we'll reach a pivotal point where people start to vote differently and we'll start going the other direction? Let me know in the comments. As always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now going over to the business blunder of the day, you have Aldi having a coffee maker recalled because, yeah, it actually might burn you. And not just a cliche, whoops, you put your hand on it, which, let's be honest, every kid's done at least once. That's how you learn. Now, this comes to us thanks to probably one of the most appropriate named websites. It's the Aldi Reviewer, which if you never experienced an Audi or an Aldi, I wish I had maybe an Audi R8 with a stick shift would be a fun thing to have. I haven't driven one yet, but nevertheless, if you've ever been to an Aldi store, it's one of the best grocery stores and headquartered famously in Europe and came to the United States. They've been burning like a weed, and yet they're known for having a really aggressive price points. Then you've got the fun little, I mean, it's a great unique experience. I believe it's also the one where you have the quarter going to the cart, and yeah, now having a bit of recall, which not so great. This is brought to us thanks to Rachel, who said, quote, Aldi recalls Ambiano single-serve coffee maker due to a hazard burn. And I mean, interestingly enough, in terms of an Aldi product, or Aldi product, still thinking about the knockoff Lamborghini, but nevertheless, joke, both owned by Volkswagen. But nevertheless, coffee maker actually looks pretty modern. Got a nice, lot of angular corners there. And they say, quote, on August 2024, Audi published a press release stating that the Ambiano single-serve coffee makers are recalled in cooperation with the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission because the machines pose a burn hazard. The machines can expel hot water from the top, causing burns to people using the machines. Or are they connected to the Internet of Things and hackers are taking over, or the machines have become sentient and they're taking over revolting finally? I'm only partially kidding. But they say, quote, Aldi instructs customers to stop using the recalled machines immediately. If you own one of the coffee makers, the press release states you have two options for reimbursement. One, you can return the machine to Aldi for a full refund of $49.99 plus applicable sales tax. Or, which is actually pretty interesting, more compelling, you may receive a $75 Audi electronic gift card by visiting, this is a long website, but https://recallrtr.com/Aldi coffee maker. Again, www.recallrtr.com/Aldi coffee maker, and registering your recalled coffee maker, you'll receive instructions on how to cut the unplugged cord, dispose of the coffee maker, and upload photos showing the coffee maker's model number, registration number, and cord cut. Which, yeah, I guess it makes sense. They want to make sure it's officially destroyed, and yeah, it's going to save them the cost of logistics in terms of transporting and facilitating the return of those products. So that makes more sense. So in terms of recalls, I think that's one of the best ways you could approach the situation, because you give them a big financial incentive to destroy it in that way. See? Although, God, again, it's still a business blunder, but you can tastefully handle the situations. That's a good example of that. They say, quote, the recall involves around 28,000 Ambiano single-serve coffee makers that were sold in July through September 2023. They are sold in gray, blue, pink, and purple. They measure approximately 11 inches long, 4.7 inches wide, and 12 inches high. Ambiano is printed on the side of the coffee maker. The recent recalled coffee makers are sold at Aldi stores in 38 states and the District of Columbia. Model numbers and UPC codes are printed on the rating label at the bottom of the unit. If you have good magnifying glass, take that out. You can see that the recalled coffee makers have the following UPC codes: 4061464174788. Other option is 40614641748001. Third, 4061464174849. Now the fifth one, 4061464174825. Also, 4061464174863. They also note that the recalled coffee makers also have the following model numbers: 708924 and 708925. Now, they note that the press release states that Audi has already received 25 reports of coffee makers expelling hot water from the top machines, although there have only been 3 reports of injuries with burns. So thankfully, it's not a deadly recall. I mean, no one's passed away from this. Obviously, it's not good to get those uncomfortable burns on you. And you can, if you want, you can also call Aldi toll free if you need more instructions at 888-770-7124. Again, 888-770-7124. Again, click that subscribe button. It'll help with my speaking ineptitudes. And we'll someday have a whole episode speaking completely coherently. Perhaps someday. We have to have goals in life. Again, you can call their toll-free number, 888-770-7124. And they can walk you through the whole process. Now, again, it's still being recalled and it's still going to cause some discomfort because, again, you have to take some effort put into it to get the refund, and it doesn't give you a good shopping experience. But I think they actually handle it pretty well, especially that financial incentive for you to do your own disposal. And they're also giving you instructions how to make sure it can't be used again, But nevertheless, they did have a giant recall, and some people are getting hurt for it. So, gotta say, Aldi, the coffee recall is certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, try to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button, I'd really appreciate it. Also, leave me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how to make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.